Hey everyone, it's me, Movie Gamer Tonto. I'm gonna do a video for you guys talking about the movie Obsession. Alright, I wanna see if we can. The goal for this video is this. I wanna kind of just break down, the girl and the guy, Bear and Nikki, and see what we can learn from it together, that we can apply to our lives, in our reality, and so on. Okay, so I believe entertainment can do that. I feel like I've done that with my stuff that I really enjoyed, like Dragon Ball Z, Godzilla, playing video games, stuff like that, like story games. And so let's go ahead and see what we can do here. First things first, I just want to mention some things about the movie, like give my props, like applauds. The actress Indy Navarrete, she did amazing. All right, like I'm really proud for her. Like the way she can just flip from being like a sweet to going a little psycho is just incredible. Like her acting was on point, and I don't know what she wants to do in her future, but I think she's got the talent to do it. Like she's off the charts. So hopefully we can see her in more acting because I think she's definitely a diamond. Like the way she can just act is crazy. All right. Overall, the director did great too. I know he's got another movie coming out. I don't know when. Something about ghosts, I want to say, but hopefully that's another good movie he does. Hopefully he doesn't have like a lightning in a bottle situation. Maybe he's got like the real thunderstorms out there. And I'm happy this is happening because I think Hollywood does need some new fresh blood in the industry. I feel like we've just been playing it safe for too long, and I think the numbers have surely shown back in the box office. So the movie's great. It's more of a thriller for me. It wasn't too scary. So I feel like if, like my wife's not really too good. She doesn't really like scary movies, but I think we watched like some of it. We had to stop halfway because we're adults. We have to wake up early. So we watched half and she liked it, even though she got a little scared at some points. Okay. So let's go ahead. I want to I guess let's just start from the beginning here and work our way to the end. So we'll start with Bear. We see Bear first, and again, I'm not gonna like mention every little detail of the movie, so this is not just like a breakdown of the movie, the summary of a movie. This is me just looking at the characters. And the first thing we see with Bear is just that he's insecure. He's practicing to ask someone out, and he does take Nikki home later in a bit more in the movie, and he does confess his feelings. And she even goes to him, like looking out the window of his car and just being like, "If you want to tell me something, now's the time to do it." And Bear just chooses not to do it. So that's a part of life. I don't want to say this is like a reason to like see someone as a villain. There's like, I guess I don't keep up too much with that kind of stuff, but I do watch some YouTubers that bring it to my attention, and I think this is not a reason to call him a villain. Obviously, right? Like everyone I mean, I was like this too in high school and like even in college. Like, I didn't lose to my virginity till I was like 25. Okay, because I didn't really confess my feelings. I was just very shy about that. And so it's something you gotta learn if you're, teenager years stuff. I would say just practice it. Not really by asking people out. I mean, obviously that will work, but I think also just presenting, just learning how to present to people and just kind of like be a leader in a room with people, not being the one that's like shy and doesn't really talk when they have ideas in their heads. I think if as long as you just practice that, you'll get there. Okay, so if you're in that boat and you feel like you're more of a bear, don't be. Okay, don't be like sad, don't be discouraged, don't feel like you're a bad person. You're not, okay? It's just part of life, all right? It takes courage, and that takes time and effort to obtain that courage. All right, so hang in there. It's okay. Everyone's gotta go through it, and everyone's gonna break out of their shell eventually. So don't sweat it. Just do your best out there. Okay. So, moving on with the movie, he does the wish, right? He says something along the lines of, "I wish she loved me more than anyone else in the world." And then we clearly see how that's working, how Nikki tells him to come to her house, or I think it's his house. And then he's doing okay. I mean, he's not taking advantage of her. Like, he lets her sleep on the bed. I think he sleeps on the floor, so he's not really being a bad person. He's being, careful with boundaries and stuff. Can't really complain there. Okay, so then eventually, I know Nikki lies and stuff, and I guess we can talk about it now. I mean, clearly she's under a spell, right? But the way she's acting can does resemble, not, I want to call them psycho girlfriends or something, but like toxic girlfriends that just, manipulate you, tell you lies, or verbally abuse you, just create these toxic environments. That's, I guess, more what she's leaning towards. It's not her, I know it's like her in this possessed state. So of course, the movie shields her from that. But yeah, if you have such situations like that in real life, guys, just I would recommend those are red flags and just don't deal with those. Okay, like I'm really happy with what I did because I had a relationship before. Like it wasn't like too much back to back, but I did tell my friend stuff that was happening. It was like during COVID, and he was just like, "Yeah, that's not right. She shouldn't be treating you like that." And so thanks to my friend, I ended it, and now I have a wife that she has her, she's wait, 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 whoa, 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 wait, 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 wait. She's amazing, and every time, I don't want to say relationships are not perfect. We always have to meet in the middle, but communication is important, guys. Always communicate, always communicate. Never get mad at each other. Work as a team. And it's been like a month now that I've married her, and it's incredible. Like I'm loving it so much. Hopefully, it keeps staying that way. I know it will. But like the way we're acting, just always show that you love them and care for them. You're just their number one supporter, and I think that's all it takes. All right, don't. It's not rocket science. Okay, so went on a tangent there. Well, yeah. Okay, so she makes a scene like at a restaurant, right? That's clearly not appropriate. She's upset. Then maybe talk about it more like in the car or like somewhere more like in private. But causing scenes are pretty not up. I wouldn't say that's, yeah, like that's just not appropriate, especially if it's like something where you're catching someone lying and stuff, and then you're just doing that to like make them look like the bad person and they stop. That's just like gaslighting, I guess you could call it that. I'm old, forgive me if I'm not using these terms correctly, but yeah, she does that. She does other weird things like watch him in the corner while he's sleeping. Not cool. All right. And then she says something like, I feel like you don't love me as much as I love you. And women have their doubts. I don't want to say like that's a bad thing specifically. That's an automatic red flag. No, I mean women. Like my mom, she's always telling me like, "Do you love me?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she just says she likes to hear me say that. Okay, so it just feels good to hear, and that's what women should do. But if it's more of just like an insecurity and she's just lashing out and being like that versus being, sweet or just being like respectful, then yeah, that's bad. Okay. Then we got, I think, forgive me if we skip stuff, but then the tape, I remember, like, I don't know if that was symbolic or not, but obviously that's supposed to represent that she just wants to be with him all the time. And yeah, of course, like if you love someone, then of course you want to be with them all the time. All right, that's not bad. Okay, it's just more like a bad thing if it really causes like fights. Like if you gotta go to work, like they should understand like, hey, he's gotta go to work. And my wife does that, but obviously the movie with the tape is supposed to represent that. Like she doesn't want you to go somewhere, even if you have to go somewhere, like to work. So again, if those things cause arguments, that's not good. What's next? We can talk about Bear. All right, you got our grizzly bear here. Is he a villain? This is where, at the part of the Moose movie, like halfway, you can make that argument because he was sort of, I guess, not taking much action. I want to say. I mean, he just kind of like he'll talk back like when she cooked his cat to make a sandwich for lunch for him. He'll talk back, but he kind of doesn't commit. And I know because she's a psycho and she's crazy, but still, if you're not gonna put your foot down, and he's gonna talk back like that, but it's not gonna work because he's eventually just gonna succumb to whatever her will, basically. Okay, so this is, yeah, like we're gonna see now like him trying, and he's also telling others like it's not, he's not being used, like this is real. So I guess he's like in denial. at this part of the movie. So I don't want to actually say he's a villain. Maybe it could be like a sense of denial for him. But anyways, let's keep going because I know we're not there yet to where we could say he's a villain. Okay, now that boys' night out part. First of all, it wasn't even like a boys' night out. And then Sarah told her about it. So, I mean, I don't know why Ian got mad at him because it's true. Like, it wasn't even a boys' night out. You see that the party is like just as many guys and girls together. Like, it doesn't make sense. So that was kind of dumb. But anyways, yeah, I mean, he was forced to. And like me, when I'm 30, all my friends, we have girlfriends or wives, and so we don't do boys' night outs. We bring them over. We have them a part of the crew. They're just part of the crew now. So yeah, so don't feel like this movie's trying to say like, oh my god, I can't believe she's getting mad when I hang out with my friends. I mean, just bring her over. Like maybe you're at I don't know. Maybe you don't have your friends don't have girlfriends yet, but you can invite her. Like bring her out. I don't see the problem with that. What else can we say here? So yeah, he sees that, and then this is where he's gonna sneak out, right? He sneaks out of the bed, and then the real Nikki's talking like, I guess through her body because she's asleep. And I want to say this is the part where he's being selfish and is not really doing the right choice. And there's a reason why, guys. The main reason behind like him kind of not being like heroic is because of how this movie ends. Okay, we'll talk about that when we get there. All right, but that's the main reason why the horror movies usually do this. They don't want their main characters to be like sweet, awesome people that really have empathy and want to help out and just do the best they can. Because like it does. Because usually a horror movie, you kind of want to see them die. Like you're not there to see. You want there to feel emotion for their death. You're just kind of there to see them get punished in a way. As sadistic as it sounds, I guess that's how most horror movies are, right? But moving on, so yeah, she's talking to him, telling him, Bear, to kill her, which is, I mean, wait, not whoa, to 3 stalk her, go off stage, and I mean, he should have been better. He should have maybe said something more like, "Where are you?" Like maybe you don't have to do that. Like there's a better way we could do it. I wish it was something more like that. I'm not really a fan of them wanting to go off stage. This movie really like says like to do that, but I'm going back to the ending again. So moving on. All right. So then Bear talks to Sarah, and it's a little weird. Well, not weird. I mean, it's weird that they didn't drive somewhere else. Why were they just there? But still, I feel like Bear should have been aware that if she wakes up, then Sarah's gonna be in danger. So it's just more of him. I feel like it's not he's a villain. It's just his lack of experience. I want to say he's just still immature as far as dating goes and having empathy and just making common sense decisions, which I mean is fair. That shouldn't make you a bad person. Like everyone grows up in their own pace. And I feel like I have a better tolerance for that because I teach high school and I could hear like the crazy stories of what their dating is like, like my students talking about their boyfriend or their friend's boyfriend, things like that nature. So and it's kind of complicated, like if they don't, they're just dumb teenagers, but at the same time, like of course you're gonna get, if I was their parent, I'll get mad at them, like yeah, like who taught you to treat people like that? Okay, but at the same time, they're just dumb kids, and I'm sure everyone's a villain in someone else's love story. So it just sucks. But I guess I'll just mention this: cheating. It should just be taught very young. Do not cheat on people. That I think for sure is like a red flag that is not forgivable. But that's not really about this movie. I mean, were they gonna kiss? I don't know, but it's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, Bear. You could say this movie's also showing how he could have been with Sarah. That probably would have been a better choice for him because Nikki, yeah, I mean, he was big on her, but I still feel like even if he did try to win her heart fair and square, I don't think they would have been a good match. So I think the moral also the story is just be with someone you're more comfortable with, and don't be with someone that you fantasize over because that fantasy isn't gonna be, what could actually happen. So don't lose someone else because you fantasizing how someone else is like. You know what I'm saying? Be with the person that you want to be with, that you can be yourself with. Moving on. Okay, so where do we leave off on here? So I would say, this is why I say in the end of my videos, I try my best to say this: do good and be better. Okay, because we're all human at the end of the day. We're not perfect beings, but the more we try to be better, the better. Okay, and if you feel like you deserve better in a relationship, then go for it. Okay, you deserve what you want. If you want to be treated better, then go for it. All right, you have your right to determine how you want to be treated. All right, no need to deal with abuse. No need to deal with like how Nikki was threatening herself. That's, I mean, clearly she's possessed, but it's just, real people do that. You know what I'm saying? And so I mean, guys do it too. Don't get me wrong, but still, like, that's just not, someone that does that is just not in a healthy state of mind, and they really do need help, and not, you can't really be the person to help them. All right, that's another lesson too. Like, you can't be the person to bear their pain and their complexity onto your shoulders. All right, they need to do that themselves. I think it's really good for relationships go to make sure that you're both on like a good state of mind, where you both have like love for each other, confidence for like, well, I mean, love within yourselves, confidence within yourselves. I think those build really strong and healthy relationships. Okay, so alright, so I do want to mention this because I don't think a lot of people have seen this. I'm sure there has to be, but not the people I see. So, people kind of put Bear as a villain too, or a coward, because he does the pills, which I want to say, I mean, I'm not a super expert movie analysis, but because remember at the end, Bear had that one wish willow, and when he goes to the restroom, and he comes out, we see it that's been used. So my theory is that Nikki got control of herself again, used it, and maybe just wish she was free, and that kind of let Bear, because he was trying to like get those pills out of him, but then at the end, he kind of has a smile, and he just goes back. So I think he did get possessed at the end, and I don't think it would be fair to call him a villain in that situation, because he wasn't him. And I feel like in this video, I mean, hopefully, I don't know. I don't know if I don't get canceled or get some backlash for this, but Nikki wasn't a villain either. She was obviously someone else. So don't keep that in mind too, guys. Watch the movie and you'll see it. You'll see how it shows that it was used. And so he wasn't a coward. He actually did get possessed at the end. That I don't think is a good way to end a movie like this, because if people are like and this is probably more common than I wish it wasn't as common as it should be in these bad relationships, but if they see this movie and then they're like, oh, I guess this is just them telling me this is what I gotta do, or like this is the only way out, and that's not the only way out. Okay, I don't want people to feel like this is like put that thought into their mind, and I feel like that's what this movie does. So I mean, if I could change the script, I would change it to where, I don't know, maybe Bear can find a loophole or something within it. I know he was trying to get people to make a wish, and I mean, he could have done that. I don't know, he can just go to a random person, have his phone out, and show a picture of Nikki and being like, hey, like, can you make a wish to make her stop loving me, or something like that. I mean, with the concept of wishes, it's just so many ways you can make a wish to beat out the other wish. You can make me, I don't know if this will help at all, but you can maybe say maybe make a wish saying that these things don't work anymore, or maybe you can just make a wish like freaking Timmy Turner, that's like, I wish everything was back to normal before I made my wish. Maybe he could have said, oh, maybe this way. Maybe he should said, I wish this was all just a dream, and I'm gonna wake up in my bed back in whatever day, the last day before he made that wish. You could have done something like that. I mean, like I said, like, if Ian could make a wish of $1 billion and have it just rain from the ceiling, I mean, there's no limitations to this wish, as long as you don't try to make a second wish. So that could have been a way to end the movie. I mean, oh, who knows? Who knows? They chose it to end this way, but Still, I would prefer a different ending. I would say this though, if they could have ended this movie the way I would have, this is the true way I would end it. I would have him maybe possess Nikki to take her or take them to that place where I guess they make those things, like the factory or the company, wherever they're at, and then he can just go in like Rambo and just be blasting buildings, exploding the whole place, punching everyone in the face, being like a total 80s like buff hero. That's the ending I would prefer. That's the true ending. That's what needs to be done. All right. But unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, I guess the budget just couldn't allow it. But I think that would have been a really awesome ending. But alright, guys, I don't feel like I'm missing anything out. Just to sum things up, um, I would say for Bear's case, don't have his characteristics make you feel like a villain. Just be a leader, listen, have empathy, try not to be selfish, do good for people out there. And if you feel like you have a fantasy over someone, but take a good look, get back to reality, and see if your guys' personalities are even a match. You know, it's good. I think I'd rather have that than have someone that's, you know, pretty, but you don't really get along with them too much, or they just have issues that you're working with on their own. And as far as Nikki goes, it's not really her in general, but just how her possessed personality was acting. Those are just red flags that you should avoid in relationships. But alrighty, guys, gonna end it here. Have an awesome day. Be good out there, and do your best. Take care, guys. Be good to one another.